I'm in the process now of getting ready for a bodybuilding competition. Currently just over a month out from the competition, and I want to kind of share how I've transitioned my eating from healthy, sustainable fat loss, maintaining a lean, healthy physique, to maximizing fat loss. Hey there, how's it going? It is your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward, and in today's video, we're going to discuss eating strategies to help maximize fat loss. And this is an appropriate video because right now I am eating to maximize fat loss. I'm in the process now of getting ready for a bodybuilding competition. Currently just over a month out from the competition, and I want to kind of share how I've transitioned my eating from healthy, sustainable fat loss, maintaining a lean, healthy physique, to maximizing fat loss. And I want to cover the different phases that you go through when it comes to optimizing a lean, healthy body. Now, before we get into that, I just want to give a quick shout out to Built Bar. And they've been kind enough to sponsor this video, and they are quickly becoming my new favorite protein bar. 18 different flavors made with whey protein isolate, and they taste absolutely delicious. I mean, I even give them to my 4-year-old son, and he loves them. I mean, this is our treat when it comes to like candy bars or sweet tooth cravings or whatever. I'm satisfying them with the Built Bar because they taste that good. I mean, it almost feels like you're cheating on your diet, but you're doing so with high quality protein, low sugar, low fat, a healthy option. So again, big thanks to Built Bar for sponsoring the video. And if you'd like to try the Built Bar for yourself, then in the description below this video, I have a link where you can check out their website. And you can also use a coupon code and save 10% off your order. And that is a reusable coupon code. It's LEEH10. So use that when you place your order, save 10%, and give them a try. Again, this is something that I've been using during my contest diet to help satisfy those sweet tooth cravings and stay on track. And this is important because a lot of people, they don't know how to scale it up or scale it down when it comes to their nutrition. It's just on or off, all or nothing. It's the extreme approach, right? And that extreme approach is one of the biggest drawbacks that actually prevents you from making progress. Because when you're all in, yeah, that's great, things are working. But what happens when you fall off the rails? What happens when something goes wrong and you get off the diet? A lot of times people are all or nothing. And I was that way for years. Like back in the day when I was competing in bodybuilding from 1995 right up until 2011 is when I did my last competition. So, I mean, I was either on this hardcore low calorie cutting diet or there was no diet at all, right? It was cutting or binging, and I didn't call it binging back then. I used to call it bulking, right? We give it a nice term, saying, well, I'm not getting fat, I'm just bulking up. It's the off season, trying to gain muscle, right? That's what I used to always tell people, and that's how I used to justify getting fat to myself, thinking, well, I'm gaining muscle. I'm eating a surplus of calories to gain muscle. And yeah, I was eating a surplus of calories, all right, but it wasn't primarily muscle that I was gaining. It was a lot of excess body fat, and that's the truth. This whole idea of cutting and bulking. When people bulk, yeah, they bulk all right, but it ain't lean bulk, if you will. It's not lean muscle. I mean, you might gain a few pounds of muscle and the rest is just fat and water and just bloat, and it ruins how you look, makes you feel like crap, and there's really no point to it if your goal is to have a lean, athletic looking physique. All right, so I'm not a fan of bulking and cutting. I'm a fan of staying lean and then having different degrees of where you are in that phase of staying lean. Whether you're staying lean and maintaining a lean physique, which is should be your new set point, a nice comfortable physique that you can maintain, enjoy the process, but reap the benefits of having a lean, healthy physique. Then you can step it up in gradual increments to the point where you're maximizing fat loss. And that's what we're going to cover in this video. First off, let's just say someone is starting brand new, overweight, out of shape, not really having any structured eating or exercise program. Like, where do you start from there? You start by simply improving what you're currently doing. So if you're currently doing jack shit, right? If that's currently what you're doing, the starting point is very small. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be overhauling your entire diet and lifestyle from day one. And that's one of the big mistakes a lot of people make, is they go from zero to hero overnight. They try and overhaul everything from day one. And while you may see some fast initial results from that, it's not enjoyable and it's not sustainable. Instead of focusing on what you need to cut out and what you need to eliminate, focus on what you need to add to fill in the gaps and actually make it a healthy nutrition plan. And this is the strategy I use for people that I'm working with in the Muscle After 40 Blueprint. We're not cutting out carbohydrates, we're not slashing calories, we're not doing any of that from the start. We're focusing on adding in quality nutrition, filling in the gaps and making sure that everything's covered. So each meal, we want to have lean protein, we want to have fruits and vegetables and natural unprocessed foods. That is sustainable and it's actually enjoyable because you're not feeling hungry, you're not feeling deprived, and sometimes you actually feel better and more satiated, but you're fueling your body, giving it the food and nourishment it needs versus trying to deprive and restrict. Like a lot of times when people go on these extreme programs, you see, well, I got to go on some fasting protocol, or they go on a ketogenic diet where they drastically cut their carbohydrates and they drastically cut out food groups because they think, well, I got to cut out. And yeah, anytime you just have this massive calorie deficit because you're cutting everything out, the weight's going to drop. But how does it feel to be deprived? How do you feel when you are cutting things out and you're depriving yourself? I mean, you might feel good for a day or two, but then eventually the hunger is going to kick in, the cravings are going to kick in, and then you start to rely on willpower, and then it's challenging, and you're forcing yourself to go through this phase of deprivation. And how long can you stick that out? Well, it depends on your personal willpower. Like some people can diet for a few days, some people can diet for a few weeks, some people can go on an extreme diet for a few months, but sooner or later, everyone's going to hit their threshold of how much they can take before they say, screw it, I can't stand it anymore, I'm sick and tired of being hungry, I'm giving into the cravings, right? I'm going to binge, I'm going to eat, I'm going to whatever, I got to satisfy those cravings. And when that happens and you go off the rails, then very often that just spirals out of control because you feel like a failure. Like, oh, I was on my diet, I was doing so good, but I couldn't stick to it, and then I binged, I failed. Oh, screw it. What's the point? You feel down and you start beating yourself up emotionally. And then what happens? Well, when you feel down and you're beating yourself up emotionally, well, you want to feel good. So what do? Then you eat some more because you want some comfort food. And then it just spirals out of control. So what was this extreme, low calorie, low carb, fasting protocol, whatever, where you were like starving the weight off, now all of a sudden becomes this big uncontrollable binge. And that's the yo-yo diet syndrome over and over again. That's what people go through time and time again. You need to change your habits. You need to reprogram your compass, your internal default settings, so that the things you do automatically without conscious effort and willpower are the things that are actually going to move you in the right direction towards reaching your fitness and fat loss goals. Because we all have habits. Whether you're consciously aware of them or not, you have habits. You have routines and things that you do on a regular basis that you're probably not even aware of. Every morning you get up, you kind of do the same little routine over and over again. You have the same type of meals that you keep going to. Your same breakfast ritual, your same lunch ritual, your same dinner ritual, your same snacking, in the evening while you're watching TV ritual. On the weekends, you probably have it, hey, we're going to go out to these restaurants, or we're going to order in pizza or takeout or something. We all have these rituals that we do over and over again. Now, I mean, it may vary from time to time and everything else, but there's a routine, there's a pattern there. And those patterns are what's keeping you in the current shape you're in. So, I mean, if you're overweight and out of shape right now, that's due to your habits, right? It's not due to lack of willpower, lack of motivation, or anything like that. It's due to your regular routine. It's due to the habits and the lifestyle that you've been living up until this point. So we need to change those habits, change those lifestyle choices, so that now the things that you do without conscious effort and willpower are things that are actually helping you to move in the right direction and build a lean physique, and more importantly, how you can stay lean. Because it's easy to lose weight in the short term, right? Like anybody can suffer it out for a few weeks or a few months on some extreme diet and get in shape in the short term. You see this a lot, especially like beach vacations and bodybuilders, or anyone who has this short-term goal, like a woman getting ready for her wedding day. I mean, she'll do whatever it takes, to look good in her wedding dress. She'll starve herself. She'll work out for hours on end. She'll do what it takes. But once the wedding's over, once she's happily married and the pictures and the video and everything is done and life returns to normal, then the motivation drops and then the old habits creep back in, and before you know it, the weight's balloon back on and yo-yo diet all over again. So in this video, like I said, I wanted to discuss the different levels of fat loss from maintenance all the way up to maximizing it. If you're starting off from scratch, we want to focus on the basics. Every single day, you want to get some form of exercise. Now, it doesn't have to be anything extreme. It could be getting outside and going for a walk. It could be doing a little body weight circuit routine at home. I mean, it could be doing push-ups and body weight squats, maybe some crunches, something that you could do in a few minutes. Like, it doesn't always have to be going to the gym for a 2-hour long workout. Simple things make a big difference. You have to let go of that perfection mentality, thinking that it has to be perfect, and realize it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough, but good enough consistently. That's my mantra to my whole get back in shape over 40. And this is what has allowed me to sustain a lean, healthy physique for going on 3 years now, is good enough, but good enough consistently. So letting go of perfection and just focus on making progress. So I don't have time to go to the gym for a 2-hour workout, but you know what? I got 15 minutes to spare. I'm going to put on my sneakers and go for a little walk around the block. I don't have time to do a full-on meal prep, but you know what? I can have some protein and vegetables with my next meal. Heck, I can go to Subway and I can order a chicken salad for lunch instead of a hamburger and French fries. Like simple, small choices in the moment. These little in the moment decisions that you make. I mean, you're making them anyway. So just try and figure out how can you optimize those little decisions. Like instead of drinking regular soda pop, drink diet soda pop. You're not even giving up the soda pop. You're just making a better soda pop choice. But it makes a huge difference. For dessert, instead of having cakes and cookies and whatever, have some fruit. Like one of my favorite desserts that I like to do is sometimes I'll have like strawberries or raspberries and blueberries and things like that, and I'll put some fat-free Greek yogurt in with it. So I'll have like a fruit yogurt for a dessert. Another one that I like to have as well, protein bars. Like instead of chocolate bars, have protein bars. And some of them are pretty darn good. Like one that I really like is the Built Bar. And they are a very healthy protein bar because it's made with whey protein. It's low in sugar, only 130 calories per bar, and they taste delicious. They're nice, soft, chewy, tasty bars. They come in 18 different flavors. So, I mean, very often, if I'm craving a snack, I'll grab a Built Bar. Or if I have my meal and I want dessert after the meal, instead of having cake or cookies or something like that, I will have a Built Bar. So now instead of loading myself up with fat and sugar, I'm loading myself up with another shot of lean protein. And it satisfies my sweet tooth cravings. And this is the kicker. You need to find out how can you satisfy your cravings, enjoy your eating while still moving in the right direction. You can't deprive yourself. You can't focus on how do I cut things out? How do I suffer it out? Suffering it out never lasts. It can work in the short term, but it can never last long term. Nobody wants to live the rest of their life suffering it out on a low carb, low calorie starvation diet. Like most people can hardly stand it out for a few weeks, let alone thinking I'm going to live the rest of my life that way. You have to think like, how can I eat so that I enjoy it for the rest of my life? And that's where making these habit and lifestyle changes come into play versus thinking of going on a diet. Like going on a diet is short term, habit and lifestyle is long term. So you need that as your foundation. Once you have that in place, like that's your default setting, you will very often lose a lot of the excess weight that you're carrying, and then you'll hit a new set point where your body is at a comfortable, lean, healthy weight. Now, it's not going to be shredded. Like if your current set point is 250 pounds and you're overweight and obese at 250 pounds and you go through these healthy lifestyle changes and you end up losing 30, 40, 50 pounds, which you very often can. Like over the course of a year of making these better choices, it's quite possible to lose upwards of 50 pounds just by making better choices. And then you are at this healthy set point. You're not overweight. That's where most people need to be. Like that should be your new set point, is to not be overweight, to just be at a healthy, ideal body weight where you're not at risk of diabetes, you're not at risk of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all that stuff. Like you're just at a lean, healthy body weight for you. Once that is your new set point and you know how to maintain that and enjoy the process, then you can look for ways to step it up if you want to. And for stepping it up, I'm going to be honest, this is pure ego, pure vanity, pure just personal challenge, whatever you want to call it. There's no real advantage to it other than just ego. It is. Like, think of someone getting ready for a beach vacation. Why do you want to have abs for the beach? Like, is it really going to make a difference to the quality of your vacation? I mean, other than you feeling good about yourself and saying, hey, I'm the most ripped guy on the beach, and having people, glance at you and stuff like that and say, whoa, okay, that guy's in shape. Other than that, like, it has no practical benefit. It's just pure ego at that stage. Or maybe you're getting ready for a bodybuilding show. I mean, that's just the competition, the challenge, and again, the ego, right? It's a contest, right? It's see who's in the best shape. It's not for practical health purposes at this stage. It's for ego purposes. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having ego. I mean, I'm a competitive person. I like to have that competitive drive and to push myself and just see how far I can go, see how I stack up against other people. I mean, it's fun to do that from time to time, and I enjoy that challenge, and that's why I'm actually getting ready for a bodybuilding show now, where you take it from lean to ripped. So one thing that you can focus on right off the bat is simply reducing your portion sizes. I mean, eating the same type of foods, but just ever so slightly cut back on the portion sizes. So instead of going back for second helpings, learn to walk away when you're just shy of comfortably full. Like, get used to being 80% full, stopping before you're stuffed, and get used to that feeling of walking away from the table without feeling overly full. Eat the exact same stuff, just get used to eating slightly smaller portions. That would be step one of taking your diet to the next level. Once you have that in place, then we can work on making some better food choices, some lower calorie, higher volume food options to maximize fat burning even more. And I'll give you a prime example of some things that I do. I eat more vegetables. Vegetables are your friend when it comes to fat loss because they're very high volume, they're very filling, they're very satiating. That's how you can get a lot of volume for very few calories. You can't do that when it comes to like your rice and your potatoes and stuff like that, because as you're eating that, you're getting a lot of calories in there as well. But with vegetables, like, you get a lot of chewing and a lot of eating satisfaction for very few calories. So that's my secret, is I have vegetables with every single meal and make it feel like I'm still eating a lot of food, but not a lot of calories. When it comes to your carbohydrates, you want to make better carb choices. And I'll give you some examples. Think of rice or pasta. I mean, they're good sources of carbohydrates, but they're very calorie dense. For the volume of rice and the calories and carbohydrates you get, you could have a higher volume carbohydrate instead. So instead of rice, have like potatoes or sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are one of my favorite because they're very high in volume. They have a lot of water, a lot of fiber, a lot of just sheer mass and volume for the amount of calories you get. So if you take like 50 grams of carbohydrates from rice versus 50 grams of carbohydrates from sweet potato, you're going to get a lot more food volume and a lot more satiation in your belly from the sweet potato because it's bigger. There's more volume for the amount of calories that you're consuming. Same applies when it comes to pasta, right? Like rice, pasta, very, very concentrated calorie dense sources of carbohydrates. So if you can have more voluminous sources of carbohydrates, that'll go a long way. Another one that I'm a big fan of as well, beans and lentils. They are great because there's a lot of fiber and they are very filling. Like when you eat beans and lentils, that fiber content really helps to give you slow burning carbohydrates and sustainable hunger satiation. One of the things that I'll often do for a meal, for example, I may have a large garden salad as my appetizer. I may have some bean and lentil soup. And very often for these, I'll even just get the plain old canned bean lentil soups. Like you go to the grocery store, you see them on the shelf, just read the label, make sure that it's low in fat, low in sugar, and there's no additive crap in there. But like if you shop around and check out the labels, you can get some very good ones. And I'll have that. I mean, that gives me a nice hot bowl of lentil soup, and it tastes good. I mean, you can add in some flavoring, some garlic and herbs and salt and pepper, or whatever you want to add some flavor to it. If you want, add some hot sauce into it to give it a bit more kick. So salad, soup, protein, veggies, and complex carbs. Like that's how I get lean, is because I'm staying full, but staying full with high volume, high nutrient dense foods, but low calorie dense foods. So I don't walk away feeling like I'm starving or deprived or anything like that. I actually walk away feeling comfortably full. And this is a great way to meet those needs, is having that high volume food there. Another little trick that I do when I'm dieting is I will get chopped up turnips, chopped up carrots. I mean, there's a store locally that sells these big bulk bags of pre-chopped frozen turnips and frozen carrots. And what I'll do is I'll mix that on a baking sheet, add on some spices with it, some garlic and herb, salt and pepper, spices to it, and then bake it in the oven until it kind of gets a nice little crispy texture to it. And this is like my version of French fries, if you will. It's like a healthy, low-fat French fry, hash brown, whatever you want to call it, that type of eating satiation. So I'll have a big plate of those along with my protein, my chicken, meat, fish, whatever I'm having. Other ones that I like, fill up a whole frying pan with mushrooms, onions, and peppers. Have that along with your grilled chicken breast. I mean, it's a great way to add volume and flavor to your food, but very low in calories. Another one of my favorite snacks that I'll have sometimes is pumpkin. And I make like a pumpkin pie filling recipe. And what I do for this is I'll get a can of pure pumpkin puree. All right, say that 10 times fast. Pure pumpkin puree. Make sure to read the label that it doesn't have any added sugar to it or anything like that. And pumpkin is awesome because very high in volume, very low in calories, high in fiber. And what I'll do is I'll dump out the pumpkin into a bowl, put in some protein powder, add in some cinnamon or pumpkin pie spice seasoning to it, probably put in a bit of stevia, and stir that up and just have this big bowl of it's like a pumpkin pie filling. That's what it's like. And it's delicious. I mean, it has a nice, sweet, cinnamony, vanilla taste, if you will. Like if you put vanilla protein powder, it'll have a vanilla taste to it. And that would be great for like a snack or a dessert. Very high in volume, very filling, but it's low in fat, low in carbs, high in fiber, high in protein. I mean, it's like a guilt-free snack that you can have. Other things that I do to help control my appetite, I drink fizzy drinks like sparkling water. That's one of my favorites. I'll get these flavored sparkling waters like Perrier or bubbly or whatever, different flavors of sparkling waters. And I find that the fizziness helps to curb my appetite. Just having that fizzy sensation adds volume in my stomach and kind of takes the edge off my hunger. So for in-between meal snacks when I'm feeling a bit peckish and I'm like, what, I'm not going to eat until my next scheduled meal, but I'm feeling like I want something right now, very often I'll have a sparkling water, and that's enough to just curb the appetite and tide me over until my next meal. Another great dessert option that you can have as well is sugar-free JellO. This is a diet hack because sugar-free JellO, there is zero nutritional value in it, but it tastes good and it gives you the sensation that you're actually eating some sweets or dessert. So I will mix up a packet of sugar-free JellO, and like in a full pack of sugar-free JellO, there's like 40 calories, like hardly anything. It's very low calories, but you get this big bowl of jelly. And then what I'll often do is I'll put in a couple spoonfuls of fat-free Greek yogurt, maybe even stir in a scoop of protein powder to give it some extra flavor. I mean, and just mix it all up, and it feels like I got this big dessert. Sometimes I'll also add in a bit of high fiber cereal, like Fiber One or something like that, or all brand bits, and just sprinkle that so I have a bit of crunchy texture to it. And it's got this big, large bowl of sweet, delicious goodness that's super low in calories, got extra protein and extra fiber there, so that helps to fill the belly and nourish you with some protein. And it's satiating. So, I mean, this is something that I've been having a lot lately. Like every day, as my evening snack before bed, I'll have a big bowl of jelly with the Greek yogurt, the protein, and a little bit of fiber bits sprinkled on top. I mean, it's delicious. And it's just gives me that feeling like I'm actually having a large snack, and feels like I'm getting a lot of calories, but I'm not. This is what makes a diet easy and sustainable versus the whole willpower suffer it out approach. Like a lot of people just think, no, not going to eat that, not going to eat that. And they just try and starve themselves. So you go low calorie, suffer it out, deprive, and just rely on pure grit and willpower. And yeah, that works in the short term, but it makes you feel miserable. Whereas if you follow these little tricks and hacks that I'm sharing with you right here, it actually makes the process enjoyable. You can stick to it and sustain it without feeling like you're on a diet. And if you can lose weight and get in shape without feeling like you're on a diet, I mean, that's a win right there. That's the secret to sustainable fat loss, is enjoying the process and not feeling like you're on a diet. Other tricks, I mentioned this before, like the fiber, like Fiber One or all brand bits or anything like that. I'll very often use those as toppers for like salads. Instead of croutons or something like that, I'll sprinkle on some Fiber One or some all brand bits onto my salad to add a little bit of crunch and give it a bit more taste and texture. Another one that I use as well, bags of puffed wheat. Just these, you've seen at the store, these great big, just plain puffed wheat. Very low in calories, very high in volume. I mean, sometimes I'll put that on top of my salads and have that like as in place of a crouton, I'll put like a cup of puffed wheat. And a cup of puffed wheat has like 50 calories. Like very low in calories, but it's high in volume and it gives you more satiation, more texture. So I mean, you're feeling like you're having your salad and you're having some puffed wheat in there or the crunchy all brand bits, and it just gives it more taste and texture. Another one of my treats that I like to have is Greek yogurt. And I'll put in a scoop of protein powder, maybe a little bit of the fiber or the puffed wheat, stir it all up, and it gives me this dessert type texture where you got a bit of crunch, the sweetness of the protein powder, and then the creaminess of the yogurt. It tastes like a nice pudding dessert, but again, very low in fat, very low in sugar, high in fiber, high in protein. So it's an ideal diet food to have. And these are all little tricks that you can implement into your eating plan to make enjoying the whole fat loss process so much easier. And this is what I do. So I'm going through a fat loss diet, getting leaner by the day, but I'm enjoying the process. And that's the key. I want you to learn how to enjoy the process. So hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully you got a few tips and tricks from it. And if you would like some help, feel free to reach out to me. Down in the description below this video, I'll put my contact information down there. If you want, you can reach out to me. We can schedule in and have a chat and brainstorm some ideas and action plans that are right for you. And if you're a good fit for the Muscle After 40 Blueprint, then I'll let you know, and maybe you can come on board and join our VIP group and be part of the brotherhood, part of the family of guys who are there following this program, getting in shape, and not only getting in shape, but staying in shape for the long term. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me. And in the meantime, have yourself a great one. Subscribe to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel if you haven't already done so, and make sure to stay tuned for a future video coming soon. Take care. Over and out.